Yep, it's here. It's took a while to come out. I know it took quite long to do this. If you read the description of the Championship video, I did say I was going to try and get this video out before the first batch of Premier League games, but I did get COVID, so that is an issue. Couldn't really record a video, but we're here now, and it can kind of work as an after transfer deadline day video instead of before game week 1. But yeah, it is here now, the Premier League prediction video. And there's not much else to say, apart from make sure you like, subscribe if you're new. Check out my TikTok and Instagram and Twitch. They'll be linked in the description. I'm going to start this video the same way I started the Championship one. Also, if you haven't seen that video, check it out. But we're starting from the bottom, relegation, to who wins the league. So, in 20th, I think it'll be Norwich. Now, I don't like predicting this relegation battle because everyone looks quite good. Norwich have signed a lot of good quality players. You know, so Watford, Brentford look like a very, very good team. But I just don't know who else could go down. Like, Brighton don't look bad enough. Southampton definitely won't. Burnley, I don't think are bad. Just Palace, I don't think they'll go down with the signings they've made, even though Vieira is in charge. I know we'll talk about Arsenal going down. I don't think that's going to happen at all. So I really don't like predicting this, but I'm going to have to go with Norwich bottom. Currently, I think they're second bottom. Arsenal are currently bottom on goal difference. They've got no points yet. They might, you know, after this video, obviously, they probably will. But I don't think they have enough. They're known as the yo-yo team. They always come up and down, up and down, up and down. So I'm putting them last. And then next up in 19th, I think it'll be Watford. Once again, I don't like putting them here. They look like a good side that could easily stay up if there was a worse team, but currently there's not. It's just every team looks quite good this year. So I'm going to have to put the people that don't look as good as everyone else in these positions. I think with people like Sarr and all of the new players they've brought in, they'll do a really good job and they'll put up a great fight for the majority of the season. I just think they'll go back down again. I'd like to see them stay up, but I just don't see it. They've not got the quality of everyone else. I think unless people turn really bad, say Brighton go into a really bad form, or anyone else like Burnley, then they could go down. But currently I think it will probably be Watford, and I've put them here in 19th. Taking up the final relegation spot, yep, it's not Arsenal. I don't think they'll go down. Just there you go, final. It's Brentford. I'm not the biggest fan of Brentford, but I've got to look on this from a neutral standpoint and say that they are very good, and I do think they'll put up a great fight. But the pure lack of people are going to catch on to the way they're playing. They haven't yet, but they will by January, and that's when teams will start, you know, actually beating them like 3-4-0, and they'll just drop way down from like probably about 12th, and they'll drop straight down into these relegation spots. They'll put up a good battle. I don't think they'll go down without a fight, but they probably will. Next up is Newcastle. I mean, they're always around this sort of area, you know, surviving relegation, pretty close. And looking at their transfer business, they only really signed Joe Willock. Yeah, they got that Santiago Munoz, but he's not going to do anything. And all they signed is Joe Willock, a player they had on loan at the end of last season anyway. So it's not really improving the team. So if they get a couple injuries to key players, or people just turn into bad form, say St. Maximin and Wilson got injured, they'd be completely screwed. And I think they'll be lucky to stay up this year. Next up is Brighton. Maybe I'm putting them a bit too low with the sign of Cucurella. You know, he's a fantastic player. He's going to come in at that left wing back and, you know, just destroy players down there. You know, they've made some good signings like Mwepu, you know. There's some good signings that could definitely make them an improved side. But I still think they'll be battling relegation, you know. I'm not too sure they're that ready to be pushing for a mid-table, like, easily. I think they'll definitely finish here. They won't be too close to relegation, but for the majority of the season, they'll probably be fighting with it. They've signed some good players, but I just think they'll be down here. The next one might shock you a bit, but I think it's Southampton. They're just, you know, they've lost a lot of their good players. You know, Vestergaard, Ings, Bertrand. And they're kind of relying on youth. I think if they'd lost Ward-Prowse as well, they'd probably be where Newcastle are. They'd be in a dreadful situation. But look at, the last seasons, all those 9-0s and that. They look like, they're just a bad game. But they do it every season now. There's something going wrong. They used to be like pushing for Europa League. Now they're in relegation battles like for the last 3 years. I don't see this season being very good for Southampton. I feel like obviously they won't be fighting. They'll be fighting relegation a little, but they'll be quite far away from it, and that's why I've put them here. Next up is Crystal Palace. They would have been lower, I'm pretty sure. They would have probably been swapped with Southampton if they hadn't have signed LiQWYD on transfer deadline day, because they needed a striker to score goals for them. They've been struggling for it. The only goals they've scored have been through Conor Gallagher, the new loanee from Chelsea. So I think Vieira needs time, obviously. He's not been proven before. He's not a good manager on paper. But that doesn't mean he can't be good here. And I think with the players he's brought in, the backing he's got from the board, he'll do a good job. Obviously, he's not going to go crazy and push them like above 10th. They'll still be in the bottom half, but they'll be quite far away from relegation. I don't think they'll go down. And I think here is probably the best place for them. If their signings come in and do well, of course. If they all get injured and play terribly, then they probably will go down. But I think here's probably right. As you can see, next up is Arsenal. Now, they might be a bit angry about this, but I think I have a good right of putting them here and this low down.
Sign some players!
They are dreadful. They are currently bottom going into this international break when this video gets uploaded. And I don't see any way of them pushing into the top half. I think the quicker they sack Arteta, the better they'll be. I think as soon as he's gone, they can probably push and maybe get top 8, maybe. But if they wait till Christmas, which I think they will, they might get top 10. But I feel like Arsenal, because ex-player, they've got this loyalty to him, they stick with him. They're going to take a while to sack him and to replace him, and I don't think the replacement might not be that good either. Looking at the state they're in, what manager is going to look at the club and think, oh yeah, I'll go there and do a job? And if they do, it'll take them time, and Arsenal fans don't give people time at the club. If they are bad, they will know they are bad. So I think this is just a season they've got to get through and then have a better window next year and just try and improve. If I told you 5 years ago that I thought Burnley were going to finish higher than Arsenal in the league, you were probably going to put me in some sort of home. But currently this season it seems like a more reasonable thing. Obviously Burnley are always that team that people think, oh, they'll go down, they're not good enough. They've got quality players. I think Dwight McNeil is the most underrated youngster in the league. No one talks about him, and he's insane. He's amazing. He fits Burnley perfectly. They've got some great quality players. They've made some good signings. Obviously, everyone's seen that Maxwell Cornet. It's like the weirdest signing ever. He's like such a skillful player. It's such not Burnley style. They also signed Connor Roberts from Swansea, who's a very attacking right back. It does make you think maybe Sean Dyche is changing his fullbacks' roles instead of being so defensive with Charlie Taylor and Lowton and maybe even Phil Bardsley a couple of seasons ago. He's going with a more attacking fullback system, maybe switching up a little bit with these signings. But I think they'll finish here. I think they'll have a good season and they'll finish just outside the top 10. Next up, I think, is Wolves. Obviously, looking at them now, the transfer window was a huge disappointment. I don't think they really signed anyone apart from loan players they had last year. I mean, keeping hold of Adama Traore is probably their main thing, but I don't think he's that good currently. And of course, looking at the way they're playing at the minute, Bruno Lage has come in and done a great job. His style of football looks very, very good. Obviously, they've not scored a goal, but I don't think that's down to the tactic. I think that's more down to the players. I think Jimenez, obviously, we got to give him time to get back from that injury. He's been out of the game for God knows how long. Traore, we always know his end product's rubbish. Trincao looks like he doesn't want to shoot half the time. Pedro Neto is injured. When he's back, maybe they'll improve a bit in the goals. But I do feel like that's their only problem. If they can get goals into their game, they will have a good season and probably finish within the top 8. But I don't know how long it's going to take for them to start getting really off the mark. So I'm going to put them here. Then now we're on to the top half. In 10th, I think it will be Leeds. Leeds are another team I'm not really a big fan of. I know a lot of people are. They like their style. I do like the way that the style they play, but I just don't like them as a club. Simple as that. But that's not important. I think they'll be 10th. They haven't really signed great players to improve their team. Obviously, they've got Jack Harrison back on a permanent. They've signed Dan James. I don't know how he'll play in this Leeds style. I feel like he'll work, but I just don't know how well. And he's got to compete with Jack Harrison and Rafinha for his place, so that might be quite hard. But I do think they'll be 10th. Obviously, we know about their defensive issues. They don't really defend. So I think 10th is probably fair for them for now. I feel like next year they'll improve with more signings and better players like that. But their transfer window means that I think they're probably not going to do that well, and they'll finish 10th. Next up in 9th, I think it will be Everton. They've started off really well, but I don't know if under Rafa Benitez that's going to last for that long. Obviously some key players like Damari Gray that they've brought in are doing really well. Townsend started quite well. Calvert-Lewin can bring out the same form he has in the last season. Then yeah, they'll probably be in a very good spot. But I think at some point during the season they're going to fall off a little bit and not keep up the form that they've currently got. And I think they'll probably drop down into 9th, and finish here. Next up in 8th, I think it will be Aston Villa. Obviously losing Jack Grealish is a huge blow for them. You know, it's been their key man for the last 5 years probably, maybe even more. And they've used his money to replace him quite well by the look of things. Obviously when Leon Bailey gets in form and on a run, Ings is already putting some great goals in. Buendia will hopefully come out and be a really good player. If they all perform to the level that Grealish was at, they'll become a great team and probably push for Europa League. But I don't know how long that's going to take. And of course, I think the defence is quite good. I think there's still some issues. I think defensive midfield, Douglas Luiz, is he at the quality that they need? I'm not too sure. He's a good player, yes, but do they want to improve on that? So I'm going to put them here because I'm not too sure their new signings are going to make that much of an impact straight away. Apart from Ings, obviously. Next up, I think it'll be Tottenham. Obviously, currently they're top of the league. You know, they've made some fantastic signings. That Emerson Royal on transfer deadline day Romero's been very good. They've got rid of players like Eric Lamela, Ayora, some problems they had with them. And they're looking a real good shape at the minute. You know, they've not conceded a goal yet. They look pretty good under Nuno. But I don't think they'll keep up where they are. I don't think they'll get top 4. And I think here is probably where they finish. I think obviously keeping Kane as well is a huge plus and big bonus, but I don't think they're going to be, taking the league by storm quite yet. Maybe next season if they can keep the players and improve on them. But currently I think here is probably a fair space for them. Next up is Leicester. I think they'll be a very good team as they normally are. You know, Vardy going crazy on goals and all of that. But they'll do what they always do. They'll be top 4, top 5, maybe top 6 all season. And then they'll just drop off and finish as low as they've been all season right at the end. They've done it for the last 2 years, and I think they'll do it again. I'd like to see them defend the FA Cup and keep that and keep winning titles. I don't think they'll be challenging too much for the title. Top 4, I think, is something they could definitely get, but I think they'll bottle it again like they have done for the past 2 seasons. I think there's something going on with the last couple of games, and currently they've got a lot of injuries with Fofana being out. So a few problems come up, but I think they'll still finish here. Next up, finishing just out of that, the top lot up there, I think will be West Ham. They have done amazingly so far. The signings they've brought in look very good. Of course, no Lingard, which is quite sad. I would love to have seen that. I'm pretty sure we all would have, including West Ham fans. But I think with the Vlasic, he's there to be the Lingard replacement. They brought in Krau, another good defensive player. They kept Declan Rice, which is very important. I think he's the key to this West Ham team. I think if they lose him, they really will go bad. So I think they're carrying on the way they're going, getting the goals. If people stay fit, like Antonio not getting injured, I think they'll have a really good season and they'll finish here. I think up in fourth is going to be Liverpool. I think they're a bit off the other three that are still left. I think making no signings in this window apart from Kanate, who isn't even starting, may I add. Matip starting over him. I don't think he'll be able to push his way into this team unless Matip or Van Dijk get injured again. And I think they'll finish fourth, which is still good, yeah, but I don't think they'll be challenging for the title. They just don't look like the same team that they were when they won that league. Mane looks so off from it. I mean, he said it last year, he said it was his worst season he's ever had. So I think fourth is probably where they're going to finish. Next up, in third, I think will be Man United. I would have put them fourth and probably put Liverpool in third if they hadn't signed Ronaldo. I don't think Ronaldo will win them the league. No, I don't think. I think they might win a cup, maybe. Like, you know, if you've seen that Roy Keane thing, he says, you know, they might win a cup or something, but he'll take them forward, I think. And I do think they'll probably finish third. I think these next two and Man U will be challenging for the title all year round. I don't think Liverpool will be in that battle. They'll be a bit out of it. But I do think Man United will probably finish here in third. Signings they've made have been quite good. Obviously, they still need a defensive midfielder, but keeping Pogba, bringing in Varane and Sancho, Ronaldo, I think it's very, very good if you're a Man United fan at the minute. I think you should be very hopeful, but I do think they will finish third. Then in second, I've put Chelsea. You might think, oh, you have the boring option, Man City win the league again, but I just think they will. Obviously, they don't look too good, and Chelsea do look, you know, disgusting. You know, with Lukaku coming in now, they look absolutely terrifying. But I still don't think they'll win the league. They'll be very close. It will be literally on like 1 or 2 points, if not goal difference, that Chelsea finish second, and I think they'll be challenging all year round. But I don't think they'll win the league. And then finally, of course, Man City. I didn't want to say it because I don't really like Man City. You know, all the money they brought in to buy Grealish, 100 million. They haven't done that well in the window, really. Only getting, obviously bottling Ronaldo, Kane and Messi signings, and only getting Jack Grealish. But they're still the Man City team, but they've just added Grealish, so that's even better. I think they'll definitely win the league. Obviously, you see that they haven't got a striker. One, they've still got January to do that. And two, they get goals everywhere else. That's the idea of not having the striker there. They get more goals from their wingers and their midfielders than they would a striker with the style of play that Pep's putting on them. But yeah, I think it'll be boring again and they'll win the league again. Chelsea give them a good run for the money, but I don't think they'll do it. And Man City will probably win the league again. Also, by the way, this image is a image of a fully packed out Etihad Stadium, as you can see. But that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Probably didn't, because I've put Man City winning the league and your team in a worse position. But that's the predictions. There you go. That's what I think the league will finish as. I think the worst thing about this prediction video is the relegation zone. I didn't like predicting it, so I just put the three that came up to go back down. I don't think they will. They all look very good. I just don't know who else is going to go down yet. I don't think I can predict that yet. By Christmas, maybe. But until then, I think this relegation battle's going to start now. Obviously, Arsenal are in there. But I think it's starting now. I think any points they pick up from these games are really important. Because it's going to be close all year round, I think. But that's the prediction video. Hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure to like and subscribe. And see you soon.